Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The new studio is about 75% up, and we are back with some NBA chatter for the play-in tournament. Look, the play-in tournament is a lot of fun. It's a great idea, but make it single elimination. I don't want to have to watch these games, and then the team ends up losing, and then they end up winning the next game, and they still get in. What's the point of the play-in game? You play in because you have to win to get in. And don't be getting up in my comments saying, oh, but this is the format. I know the format. I'm saying it would be much more entertaining as a viewer if it was just single elimination tonight. I need stakes. If there's not stakes, I'm not as interested. When only one team can be eliminated tonight, I get a little bit interested, but not as interested. But you people don't give a fuck about that. You want to know the top 8 plays in the day for this 2-game slate. Just a 2-game slate, but some pretty big prize pools and a lot of great props on Prize Picks. We can get into it right now with the number 8 schmack of the day. The number 8 play in the day right now is going to be, for me, Mr. LaMelo Ball. Now, LaMelo Ball comes into this one at $8,100. And the first thing that you have to keep in mind now that the playoffs are officially here, and that's what this is, since there's elimination games going on, the playoffs are officially here. Thank you. We made it past a terrible NBA regular season, an atrocious final 2 weeks of the season. Now we get some studs playing massive minutes. So what you can do is give all the starters even more run. And it's nice to see that this first game between the Celtics and Charlotte is looking like a good pace environment, a really good pace environment, over a 106 projected pace. That is possessions per team projected in this game by myself, and a 112 team implied total for LaMelo Ball's Charlotte Hornets. Now I have LaMelo Ball today currently projecting out for 42.76 fantasy points. That's obviously pretty strong for his $8,100 price tag, and when you factor in LaMelo Ball's ceiling, it gets even better. Now LaMelo Ball, for me, I said increasing of the minutes is something that you want to be looking out for in the playoffs. I have LaMelo Ball for 34 minutes. We saw LaMelo before his injury, right? An injury that people thought would keep him out for the season. He came back damn quick. The benefits of being a young sprat chicken in the NBA. Before the injury, we were seeing games where he was playing 36 easily in 38 minutes. So there's a chance that my 34 minutes projection on him might be low. Like if this game is going neck and neck down to the wire, the final potential game of the season for the Charlotte Hornets, you might see LaMelo Ball just play 40 minutes in this game. Now I can't just go out there and project for that, but if you give him 2 more minutes to 36 minutes, what that would do for me on LaMelo Ball, my projections right now, if you ended up giving LaMelo Ball 2 more minutes, it would make LaMelo Ball my number 2 overall play in the slate. So you can see how close this is. Even though he ranks number 8, his ceiling, his point per minute production, and the ability to play more minutes, LaMelo Ball, if there's any type of ownership quote-unquote discount, because it's a small slate, he's going to be 40-50% owned, but if he's the 6th, 7th, 8th most owned player in the slate, there is massive value in that because of how close his projection is to being one of the top ones on the slate. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in. So we had the studio looking different yesterday for the golf video. We'll have some more golf content coming out for the second major of the year, the PGA Championship. We got it about 75% of the way done. Got some more things I have to put on, some more lights, and I got about a 4-foot long rainbow $100 bill that I bought impulse buy, seeing it in the store in Miami. Ended up buying it on Amazon. So a lot more to come from the studio. We'll be live officially later today, an hour before lock. So we'll be going up to lock, right? We're going to be streaming for an hour live until lock because basically we only have 2 games. So if any crazy news breaks, it's probably like Brogdon gets ruled out and that's about it. Maybe one other piece of news, but right now it looks like the only major injury news that we have is that these Pacers players are questionable. Now, since it's the playoffs and a pretty big damn game, I would assume that you're going to see guys like Sabonis who are questionable play today. Brogdon has not played in a while, but he's going to give it everything he possibly can. I might have said earlier that Charlotte's playing Boston. Charlotte's playing Indy. Washington is playing Boston today. Washington needing to win that game, and so is Charlotte still. We will be live an hour before the games start. The games start at 6:30 p.m. East Coast time, so I'm in Central time now here in Texas, in Austin, Texas. I'm going to be going live personally on the East Coast time, 5:30. So an hour before for the final hour. Get your questions in. Come on in. The number 7 play in the slate. Like, subscribe, do those things as we get into this. The number 7 play in the slate for me right now is going to be 1, Russell Westbrook. And now Russell Westbrook does not grade out point per dollar wise, right? When you factor in his price tag of $12,400, where he stayed his last couple times out there, he does not grade out as one of the top plays for me. If I was to just give you the straight value point per dollar play for me today, Russell Westbrook is my number 20 play on a slate of just 2 games. Right now, I only have ranked players with any type of points. Literally 1 point. Isaac Bonga. I have for 1.03 points today. I only have 45 players ranked, and Westbrook's ranking 20th for me. But the big difference for Westbrook is the overall points upside. Westbrook is on a 2-game slate where he's projecting out for 5 points more than anybody else. The only guy close to him is Domantas Sabonis. I have Russell Westbrook today for 58.99 fantasy points. I have Sabonis for 53.9, questionable if he plays. Outside of Sabonis, I have Westbrook for 10 more points than anybody else on the slate today, and nobody's ceiling really comes that close. Westbrook's ceiling is 85-ish points. We've seen Sabonis score about 74, 75, but that's his ceiling. He has 10 points higher of a ceiling right now than anybody on the slate, in my opinion. And that is what my projections, you can check them all out down below right now. No better time to check them out than the NBA motherfucking playoffs when games actually matter and we can actually project this stuff out even more finally. It's going to be looking really good for Westbrook, just point per dollar wise. on this slate right now for Westbrook, I might even be under projecting him. I gave him 39 minutes, but we know that Russell Westbrook plays just in the regular season 38 or 39. He is an energizer bunny and just has endless amounts of stamina. So Westbrook in a game that's an elimination game could play 42 minutes, and then he's looking like a very strong option, an even stronger option. He's the number 7 play in the day today. There's merit to saying that he should be higher on this list because of the fact that not many guys can go out there and just have any. I mean, nobody on the slate has a 60-point projection. He's the closest by about a point. The number 6 play on the day today is going to be Jason Tatum. So there's no Jaylen Brown. It looks like everybody else in this team, even Robert Williams, is going to be out there and playing. Jason Tatum at $9,800 comes in today, and you can expect these Boston starters specifically to play massive minutes because off their bench, nobody really has experience. You have rookies, guys like Aaron Naismith. You have Peyton Pritchard back there. There's not a lot of guys. Semi Ojeleye has some experience, but don't think they want to run him out there a lot. I don't think they're going to give Jabari Parker meaningful playoff minutes. The starters are usually in the past, if you look at Brad Stevens and Boston's units, usually get massive run. And when I say massive run, I mean touching 40 minutes of play. And when you look at this season, what they have on their bench, even less experience, especially at guard. Now Jaylen Brown out, even less depth there because Marcus Smart entering the starting rotation. You can expect massive minutes for them. So right now, if I tell you my minutes there, I've got Jason Tatum at 38 minutes, Kemba at 36, Fournier at 34, and that might be low, significantly low. He could potentially play 38. I've got Marcus Smart at 35. And then Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson basically splitting the 48 minutes of center today. But you can see I have massive minutes for these guys, and that helps Jason Tatum at $9,800. The highest team total on the slate at 117.25 today. Also the highest game out of the 2 games here. Jason Tatum for me projects out for 49.27 fantasy points. That is the 3rd highest total on the slate. And you're also getting a little bit of value on that number right now. If I was to just take Jaylen Brown off the court, Jason Tatum goes from averaging about 1.3 fantasy points per minute, and you can see right here in over 1,000 minutes of play with no Jaylen Brown, to 1.38 DraftKings points per minute. He sees over a 20% assist percentage, over a 21% defensive rebounding rate, and a 34% usage rate. This is even with Kemba Walker on the court. So you can see right here, 1.38 fantasy points per minute, sees a decent spike, and that's why he's going to project out for me for close to 60 fantasy points on the day. Now, as we continue to go through this into the final 5 plays on the slate, I want to let you know about the sponsor of the program today. That is going to be PrizePicks. PrizePicks released their lines very, very early, and their lines are not so good right now. These are going to change. Probably by the time this video is out, they're going to change quickly after that. PrizePicks is an over-under platform. You take the over-unders on fantasy points or just any type of props, points, assists, rebounds, things along those lines. You can check it out right here. Normally, I just have 2 PrizePicks that I like in the morning, but they have all the props up for these 2 games, and there's probably about 6 or 7. I posted a couple of them on Twitter at SalVetcherDFS, but here's the 4 that I like the most and that I'm playing right now. If you want to play these, if you want to tail these, if you want to get some action in on PrizePicks, I highly encourage it, especially right now for when these lines in the market is very soft for the NBA playoffs, to trying to figure out exactly what these teams are going to look like, because we really don't have the biggest samples with these teams playing their starters full run all season long, because it's been a season of guys being injured and just trying to get to the playoffs. Use the link in the description below. When you sign up, use my name Sal as a promo code, SAL, that simple. Any money you put in on your first deposit, they will double your money up to $100. No other site is doing that right now. Try out PrizePicks, link down below. What are you waiting for? Give me the over on LaMelo Ball. If you recall, I have LaMelo Ball right now for 42.76 fantasy points. That's a 5-point difference. That is a very Starks difference. That's not a fucking word that I just said, but we're going to roll with it. Malcolm Brogdon is the best PrizePicks play potentially on the day today. Malcolm Brogdon, if he plays, questionable, has been missing a lot of games. I assume if he plays, he's going to get his full run today. I have him projected right now for around 43 fantasy points. The over-under is at 36. He's a very strong steals player, which gives him even more upside on this platform where you get an extra point for that. So it's a 7-point difference. Give me Malcolm Brogdon, so we'll take the overs there. And I'll give you 2 more because it's the motherfucking NBA playoffs. Doug McDermott under 24. I've got Dougie McBuckets around 17.5 fantasy points today, so that one's as simple as that for me. And here's the other big one. This is definitely going to change. Ish Smith at 22 fantasy points. Raul Neto about 12 hours ago, so around 6 p.m. at night, 6:30 at night, Central Time, so I mean 7:30 Eastern Time. I'm trying to get done with this math here, trying to get this time zone changes in my head. But Ish Smith here, Raul Neto was ruled in last night. They have not changed this Ish Smith. Ish Smith is probably not going to start now. Nato's going to see more run, and Ish Smith's projection should probably either come off the board or go down to like 16. I've got Ish Smith at 16.5 points today. Take the under on Ish Smith. The fact that Nato is in, they are not adjusting for that yet. You likely have to get this in the next few hours, but be sure to take it if it's indeed there. So those 4 PrizePicks. That's a lot more than I normally do. You can check out PrizePicks, link down below to tail any of those or any other ones that you want to. They have a bunch of different sports. Use that code SAL when you sign up and get double your money up to $100 motherfucking Rooskies. The number 5 play in the slate is Domantas Sabonis. If he plays, my second highest projected player is Sabonis today, and Sabonis has been playing 39 or 40 minutes just regularly in the regular season to end this year off, right? And if Brogdon plays, obviously point per minute wise, takes a little bit of a knock when you're putting in, instead of Edmund Sumner or TJ McConnell, Brogdon, who's a much better fantasy point per minute producer and will play more minutes than either of those guys. But Sabonis, if he's healthy, he's just been playing massive minutes during the regular season alone. These are his last games where there's actually a game that finishes, right? No health issues. 39, 40, 39, 43, 41, 37, 43. That's what he's been playing. He's been averaging over 40 minutes per game over his last 7 regular season healthy games. So now the playoffs are here, and assuming that he plays today, it's really hard not to project Sabonis for close to 40 minutes. I only gave him 38, which based on those numbers I just told you, and now it being the postseason and elimination game, there's a chance that that's 2 points too low. If I actually give Sabonis 40 minutes of play projected today, Sabonis projects out for me still for my second highest projected player, but he would then project out as my second best play in the slate. There's a play in the slate today that looks fantastic. Nobody's jumping that guy no matter what you give some of these other guys in medium projections. So Sabonis, a really high ceiling here. I would prefer Sabonis if healthy to Russell Westbrook, but there's probably a decent chance you can get both of these players. Or at least the goal should be to get 2 of the 3 of a Sabonis, a Jason Tatum, and a Russell Westbrook, my 3 highest scorers pretty significantly today. Those are the 3 guys that are basically projecting out for 50 points or above. I have nobody else projecting. Only one other guy projects for over 42.5. That's Bradley Beal, but he does not project for over 45 points, not even really that close to 50. So Sabonis for me today, going to give him around 1.35 fantasy points per minute. I gave him 38 minutes. If you give him a couple more, looks good today. The number 4 play in the slate is going to be Tristan Thompson. Now, here's the thing with Tristan Thompson. Robert Williams is healthy. Tristan Thompson has a lot more experience, especially in the postseason. I mean, he went on those runs with the Cavs, and he looked very good in the postseason. Tristan Thompson, in my opinion, will set up nicely here in this matchup, and Robert Williams is more of an offensive threat. The problem with Robert Williams is in the regular season, he'll get the run, he'll look really good for fantasy, but the reason he doesn't get consistent 30 minutes of play is his defense, is his ability to get up and down the court, is maybe conditioning to an extent. You saw Tristan Thompson towards the end of the season. Robert Williams was banged up, played 28, 32, and 27 minutes. I believe over those final week of the season or so, those final 4 or 5 games, they were ramping up Tristan Thompson for the postseason. The reason they went out and signed Tristan Thompson was for the postseason. Now, you can argue that there was better options out there, try to get Miles Turner. That's definitely true, but it was for the postseason. Tristan Thompson has made it healthily, right? Nicked up during the season, but he's made it to the postseason. I assume they give him the minutes. Now, it does not mean Robert Williams plays no minutes. I've got Tristan Thompson at 28 minutes today. Robert Williams, I got at 18. Sure, he can play 20. I just gave them small ball for 2 minutes. We'll see what happens there. It's not like anybody they're going up against between Alex Len and Robin Lopez and Daniel Gafford is that much of a defensive stalwart. So it's going to be Tristan Thompson getting a good amount of run. Highest team implied total, $4,800 today at a 28-minute projection. Tristan Thompson, for me, projects out early on today for 26.45 fantasy points, making him a quality option. Now we get into the top three plays on the slate. A couple of these guys are going to be from the Boston game, and the number 1 player overall on the slate, maybe you already know who it is, but he's going to be a little bit different. Not a stud, not really a household name as often. The number 3 play in the slate is going to be Tristan Thompson's teammate, and that is Evan Fournier. I already said I have Evan Fournier today for 34 minutes of play. Evan Fournier grades out for me as the number 3 overall play on the slate at just 34 minutes of play. There's a really good argument to say that with no Jaylen Brown today, with Evan Fournier having experience and playoff experience, I mean, albeit getting bounced in the first round all the time with the Orlando Magic and usually getting swept, but having some playoff experience, actually winning that game last year, if you recall, against Milwaukee in the bubble. But he's been playing big minutes, 34, 36, 35, 36, 34. This is the minutes that he's been getting towards the end of the regular season when there was no Jaylen Brown. In some of those games, Marcus Smart or Kemba was banged up, so sure, more increase there. But now it's the postseason. Brad Stevens plays this guy's massive minutes in a matchup against Washington with the best team implied total. This is Evan Fournier as a point per minute producer. I've been higher on the industry on him basically the last 2 weeks since Jaylen Brown has been out. And what has that gotten for us? Oh, a 50 burger, oh, a 45 burger, a couple of 30 burgers when he was priced at just $5,500. We'll take those, right? He scored 29 and 30 fantasy points. Now Evan Fournier, $6,000. The price isn't coming up. It's actually gone down $200 since his last game. So give me this little bit of a price discount somehow on Evan Fournier today. I've got Fournier projecting out for me early on right now for 33.25 points. And if I was to give him more run, he'd project out as a top 2 overall play. So we got 2 plays right now left for you. Like, subscribe, do those things. And also be sure to check out Patreon, the projections, the ranks, the optimizer. We have an optimizer. We'll show it on the live stream later today. Yes, we have all this stuff. We have PGA, MMA, big event this week for the PGA. MMA, MLB projections every single day, a couple months away from the NFL. A ton of stuff, ownership, top plays, all that type of stuff is aimed to reduce your research time, increase your chances of winning while giving you access to our community and our Discord. A bunch of people talking in there about prize picks, about a bunch of different sports. Every sport that I cover is in there as well. So sign up, because what are you waiting for? The NBA playoffs are here. We're going to have all the projections all the way through the finals at the end of July, and then right after that, we're 2 weeks away from the NFL preseason. So you're going to be smacked all around with the top information to increase your dollar riskies. Be sure to check it out. We had a bunch of players last week. Somebody won $15,000, somebody won $5,000 just in the NBA during the wacky times. Now with the more stable times, I think we're going to be set to take down the competition. Check it out down below on Patreon. What are you waiting for? The number 2 play on the slate today. We're staying in Boston because Boston, again, I can't emphasize it enough, plays massive minutes. Their starters play massive minutes. They don't have the depth to really give other guys like Peyton Pritchard or Aaron Naismith or Carson Edwards or Tremont Waters, all these guys, these guards on their bench, they're not going to give them really any minutes. So when Kemba starts to project out for me for 36 minutes a player, so I've got Kemba Walker projecting out for over 40 fantasy points. Kemba Walker's price point for me today should be $8,000. He's at $7,300 today. He's already averaging 32 minutes per game on a guy who's been limited most of the season right now. And you finally started to see what Kemba Walker's minutes might look like all regular season if he stayed healthy. 38, 40, and 35 minutes to close out the season. I do think that's basically going to be his postseason run. I think on average, you're going to see Kemba Walker, if the games stay close, playing 36 minutes of play in this postseason, especially in a play-in tournament where they're just trying to get to the motherfucking postseason. I've got Kemba at 36 minutes. Not shocked if he plays 38 or 40. He played that in literally the regular season, the last 2 games to close it out. And when Kemba's been playing these big minutes, 46, 48 and a half, 54 fantasy points in 3 out of his last 4 games. There's massive upside here for Kemba Walker, who without Jaylen Brown this season, if we pull back up over on Popcorn Machine, without Jaylen Brown this season, a 1.2 fantasy point per minute producer in his own right, Kemba Walker plays the 4th most minutes on the team, missed some time on his own, and he averages 1.21 fantasy points per minute. He goes from a little bit over a fantasy point per minute producer to an elite fantasy point per minute producer. So just basically picture, based on the production that he has right now, this is basically what Jaylen Brown was producing this season, about 1.2 fantasy points per minute, going to play 36 or 38 minutes. If Jaylen Brown was $7,300 today, people would be owning him nonstop, and that's probably going to happen today, but just picture it that way. Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown right now, if he was playing today, would be about $8,500. Kemba Walker should be probably at least $8,000 and arguably $8,500 because he's producing as if he's Jaylen Brown now that Jaylen Brown is not there. And let's close it up with the number 1 play in the day. Again, we're trying to finalize the office here. We did a whole cross-country move for 2 days. It took us 2 days to get everything into the apartment. This is now the 2nd day of me trying to finalize the office. We got some more stuff coming today, but we're getting very, very close. So I appreciate y'all bearing with this. Like, subscribe, do those things. I'll see you at 5:30 p.m. East Coast time. We're going live right before the slate is going to lock. An hour after that, we'll be live for that full hour looking at lineups for the 2-game slate, answering all your questions, discussing the best leverage spots on the slate. Any questions you got, come on in for that. So be sure to hit the notification bell so you know when that is going to be dropping, that live stream, and you just get notified of it. The numero uno play on the slate today is going to be a player from the Charlotte Hornets, and that fella's name is going to be Mr. Cody Zeller. Cody Zeller is my number 1 play on the slate today because he is a fantasy point per minute producer at the very least, and Cody Zeller, they have been ramping up for the postseason. Who gives you the best chance to win in the postseason? It's not Bismack Biyombo. Sure, Bismack Biyombo has some size, and sure, maybe that helps against Domantas Sabonis, but they don't have Miles Turner out there. Sabonis will play the 5, sure, but then after that, they're going to have a little bit of a smaller team at the 4. O'Shea Brissett, Doug McDermott filling in there. So you can get away with going a little bit smaller, especially if it gives you a lot more offense, which Cody Zeller is going to provide for you. They started to ramp up Cody Zeller at the end of the regular season by basically not playing any of Carney and not playing much of Bismack Biyombo at all. Zeller closed the season out, ramped up for the postseason for 30 and 36 minutes of play. I expect Zeller to start today in this game. Sure, the smallest team implied total, but 112 is still very fine. A $4,700 price tag for a starting center in a 2-game slate who is going to go out there and probably at the very least play 26 minutes if the game stays close and he stays out of foul trouble, likely play 28 to 30 minutes, and he averages on this season so far 1.05 fantasy points per minute. I'm only giving today Cody Zeller 1 fantasy point per minute, so I'm under projecting him there. I'm giving Cody Zeller 30 minutes of play. Even if I give him 28, he still looks good. He is my number 1 overall play today for 30.8 fantasy points. He's the only guy who projects out for 6x value. That's point per dollar value. And even if you said, Sal, give him just 28 minutes of play today, he'd still be my number 1 play in this slate. Sal, give him just 26 minutes of play today. Then he would end up being my 3rd overall play in the slate and barely just becoming and just getting edged out for the number 2 play in the slate. So even if you give him 26 minutes of play today, which if he starts, I highly doubt he gets that low of minutes, he still grades out as a borderline top 2, top 3 option. Give him 28, still the number 1 play. Cody Zeller at $4,700. As long as you see him in the starting lineup today, expect massive ownership. If he starts, expect 60 to 70% ownership. Just play the guy. He is clearly today at least $1,000 and arguably about $1,500 underpriced. Nobody is that underpriced on this slate. Thank you for tuning in today. The 2-game slate, the playing game is here. We're that much closer to the NBA playoffs. We're basically here at the postseason. The playing game should be pretty fun. Check out the PGA for the PGA Championship, the 2nd major of the season. Big week in golf. We put a video out yesterday. We'll have a betting video today on Tuesday. We'll have a live stream later today. We're back up in shop. We're back up and running with the content flowing out here into your earballs, into your eyeballs. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you getting smacked around by me right now. You all fucking rock. Like, subscribe before you go. Any questions, let me know down below. Be sure to support the sponsor of the program today. We went over 4 prize picks, right? We went over 4 motherfucking prize picks today. We got the Ish Smith under, and that's not going to be at 22 for much longer now that NATO is in. We got the under on Doug McDermott. I'm not as confident in McDermott's under because I do think he could potentially start today over Brissett, who is not as experienced, but just be sure to track that one. But I am very confident in the Ish Smith under, the Brogdon over if he does play, and the LaMelo Ball over at 37. So use that code SAL, SAL, PLAYL to get your double your money bonus. No better time than right now during the NBA postseason. And check out Patreon down below. You all rock. You make this a lovely, lovely job. I'm excited to be back up and running. I'm sweating right now because it's motherfucking hot as fuck already at 7 a.m. in Texas, and I ain't got the fan on, and I got a bunch of lights on me, so we got to get the fuck out of here. Appreciate y'all. See you on the live stream later today. Don't miss it. Peace out, gang.